So I have the NAM REN 12.6 7-weight, and this is a really light, ultra light but easy to cast rod. Me and Charlie fished this yesterday over in the valley and really enjoyed it. Charlie fished it with a Skagit head and sink tip on it because that's how he likes to fish. And this thing, it's nice. It's really nice. So what I want to share today is for distance and power, not the kind of power that like we're trying to just kill it every time, but the kind of power that uses our body and this rod for the power. Mainly, how do we access the power that's in the rod? I feel like Kamala Harris. How do we access the power in the rod without being too hard on our body? What we do is, the main thing that helps is to stop the rod high, okay? If you stop the rod high, let's say we're fishing on a windless day. And yesterday, I'll just take yesterday as an example. I was fishing on a windless day, and I had my lacy out, and I was just rifling some casts. Really powerful, fast, but I was hitting it too hard, and I knew it, I was. And when I got back to making the rod do the work, I could cast just as far, cast just as tight loops, with zero injuries to my body. And the way I was doing it, the way I get the best power from the rod, and the way that saves your body and it makes for really tight, nice loops, is number one, a high stop. Okay, so instead of trying to drive down and drive down, we've been told our whole lives, pull down for the forward cast, right? And there's places for that, you know, like we're pulling with both hands, okay? But for some cases, that you might find that helpful in some cases. But if you're trying to access the rod, you're going to do an old Simon Gosworth trick that he used on his Rio's Modern Spey Casting video, if you had the video. And his trick for casting far, or maybe I saw this on YouTube, well, was to aim high, okay? So the reason aiming high works for me is that it stops your rod, it stops you from driving low and trying to throw a fastball low every time. And what it does is it makes the rod's gonna stop bending whether you stop it or not. You can either stop it and throw a tight loop, stop it with your top and or bottom hand. Like this is, you know, you can, the super tight loop, too tight in the super upright position and super high stop. But if you just aim high, your rod's gonna quit bending on its own. It quits bending when you decelerate the rod, not when you stop the rod, okay? So a positive hard stop is not always essential. But if you aim high, see like that, barely put any effort into it. I aimed high, my rod was pretty vertical, and it stopped at about 1 o'clock. So the 1 o'clock stop, Peter Morse talked about that on one of his videos, and I can't believe that video didn't have, 30,000 views. Maybe I'll play it on this channel. But if you stop the rod high, or at least if you aim high, you don't have to worry about stopping it. If you aim high, you're gonna send a shock wave when you pull with this bottom hand and push with the top. Okay, you pull a lot and push a little. and you're going to get that high rod stop. But we don't want to push down with this hand. We want to push just a little, okay? Could push down maybe, but we don't want our forearm to go down. We want our, see, so like with a long line, I'm going to stop like this, up here. Short line, I can get away with stopping, you know, stopping low, like that, okay? But the idea is high rod tip stop at 1 o'clock. So for the wind, naturally you're gonna have to aim lower, you know, and get a little bit more laser loop low. But for normal casting, when you want some more distance, and this will really help your left-handed cast, because it takes away all the responsibility of trying to just hammer that thing home, right? So all you got to do is cast that much. You just have to go stop high, pull and stop high. Okay, you don't need to stop it with your body. You can stop it with both hands, stop with your bottom and top. After all, you gotta stop both ends, right? So just stop the rod. Don't think about it. But see, that's all I have to do. And I said stop the rod, but I meant just aim high. See, it'll unfold beautifully up high. And then if the wind kicks up, aim lower, but keep the same push-pull idea. Like that, okay? So, first thing is that. Aim high. If you have to stop the rod high, there's no harm in it. But you don't have to pound it unless maybe you're really trying to pop it and get a sink tip out of the water or something like that, you know? So, you know, everything's a tool. And then the other thing, to pull with your bottom hand. That's the other thing. Okay, I pulled a lot with my bottom hand. I didn't worry about coming down here. You only do that if you want to. But if you reminded myself, okay, I'm going to stop the rod high, pull with my bottom hand, and that's going to happen. The line's going to be, you know, it's going to be 12, 15 feet in the air. It's going to be as high as your rod leg. So, obviously pull with your bottom hand, but the problem is we forget to pull with our bottom hand. So, you might want to squeeze the crap out of the bottom hand to remind yourself. Okay. So, third thing I'm going to say to get in that cast is get your rod a little more vertical. It may or may not help you. It'll make your rod longer. You know, if you cast sidearm, you're kind of shortening the rod length. So unless I have to, I don't always cast to sidearm when I want that extra distance, especially for these shorter heads. I'll bring my bottom hand all the way around to here. So when I cast, it's almost vertical. Maybe not quite, but I don't want too much sidearm. I would rather have it more vertical. And yesterday, with my lacey, if my formula for the forward cast to get the distance with my lacey was just that. Okay, I'd sweep all the way around here, get it vertical, stop the rod high, and pull with my bottom. Pull my rod up. I would get my rod vertical, pull with my bottom hand, and aim high. Just like that, okay? So, 3 things. And I already said them, so I'm not going to go over them again. And when I did that, and I imagined myself drawing that D-loop with just the tip of my rod, I want to feel that right in the tip. And then I took it all the way around so the rod was vertical, and then I pulled with my bottom hand and aimed high. If you do that, you don't really have to, your hands will do the right thing sometimes. Like that, okay? That's just right. And that is what gave me my most efficient, non-body injuring, tightest loops, elegant, amazing cast with so much little effort. And of course I would revert back to too much effort, but when I went back to that, I got those tight loops with zero, why do I keep saying with zero? With zero effort. With no effort, with no effort. Tight loop, pulled with the bottom hand. Keep that rod vertical. Stop it. Try a few at 12 o'clock before you do 1 o'clock. And it forces the rod to do the work. We want that rod doing the work. We're gonna do this, and it's gonna send a shock wave up this rod, and the tip's gonna go, and it's gonna shoot a laser without you putting all your body English. And the other thing that happens, now, if you try to like flip the tip too much and you hit it too hard and you stop it too hard and that tip goes bang, you know, if you get a lot of deflection, I guess they call it, and you hit it too hard, the nose of your forward loop points down. So that's why you want to aim high and don't overhit it. Just hit it very smooth. We don't want to flip the tip and pound the tip down. We want to do that, okay? That's a little lower stop, but you get the idea. So, yesterday I got to fish river right or river left. So, I just like that. You can stop the rod or just aim high. Okay, aim ridiculously high for a time or two, and then just stop it at 1. And if you have a nice, snappy but forgivable, fast recovery rod like this NAM REN 5-piece. See, effortless. It's effortless. If you have a rod that's a little bit soggy, likes to bend a little more, you can still do it. You just gotta slow yourself down and let the rod do the work by pulling with the bottom hand and aiming high. See if I can do one at 12 o'clock. Almost. It's too high, but 1 o'clock is better. Okay. Is that real banged up against my elbow? I see too many guys trying to drive that forward cast with too much effort, when if you just discipline yourself to just practice a little bit of that, even if it's not so much Scandi style, even if you're stopping it like this, see, that'll give you your, and I got a feather tied on and I keep blowing my feather. So, a nice high rod stop. I love this rod more and more especially fishing it. Look at the effortless cast. Beauty. Hang in there, guys.